Hello guys, and welcome back. Another weekend gone, another weekend adventure that me and Charlie had of collecting a new car. I have got a video ready, but unfortunately twice it's caught me out. On the Sunday that I collected it, and I had it out all day Monday, I just give it a quick wash and stuff, and by the time I got round to getting the filament done, it catches us every time. It was dark. So I'm going to try and bring it to the garage one day this week and do the video of the actual reveal, not the collection cape I've getting it, and get the video uploaded. But anyways, a lot's changed this weekend, guys. I'm knackered, and I'll tell you why I'm knackered this morning. Everything's changed. So, as you know, I've gotten a new car. Yeah. Mondeo has sold. Gone. Audi A6 has sold. Gone. Well, not gone yet, but it will be on Friday. And I'm getting a new car, another new car. So basically, I've got the new car to reveal, and then on Friday, I'll have another new car to reveal, and I've said the Mondeo and the A6 have sold. Well, actually, I'm doing a swap job for the A6 for the car I'm getting, and the Mondeo has gone. A lot of you guys will probably know him anyways. It's the guy who I go to the car shows with, Chris. He always takes me cars, but again, he wants that car for exactly the reason I had that car, was to take his nice show cars and stuff off the road for the winter and just have a winter hack. But I'm getting basically a winter hack to replace the A6. So really, rather than me running the A6 and the Mondeo, running two cars, I'm down to just having the one car. But it's a newer car, it's a fast car, and it's a very versatile car, as in like plenty of space in it. Probably a bit more height than the Mondeo, but not quite as long in a way, but I think it's probably marginally the same. So anyways, yeah, so new project reveal. Like I've said, this project reveal I've getting with the number plates on, that'll be getting a bit of work done. I'm going to do a quick service on it, quick Lango guard underneath. It's due its MOT in December the 14th, I think. So anytime after the 14th of November next week, so the time adds on, so it's got like 13-month MOT. So I'm going to MOT it, do a full service, Lango guard it. That's a little issue with the seatbelt thing on it. I'm not going to go through too much. Do a few little jobs on it, and then it's going to get put away into the garage, which if you look on my YouTube, on my Facebook, you'll see I've just acquired a new little storage garage, which is only the right size to fit this kind of car in, and that'll be going away for the winter. So really, I'll only be down to the one car for the whole of the winter, and all year round. Family, dog, travelling car, everything. So a lot to come this week, guys. It'll be all revealed sometime midweek / end of the week Friday. So what's in? I'll show you. I'll just walk around. It's a little bit windy. I'll show you what we've got in. So what's in? I can't properly see you guys with the sun. I don't know if you can see me. First up, a Mondeo. Just while we've been speaking about Mondeos, this used to be mine. This was a cracking car, this was. And then Joe had it, and unfortunately not long after Joe passed away, well, not long before Joe passed away, he had this car. With it all sorts of, this under shield, they don't normally have them, that's custom. It's got a full straight through exhaust, a custom exhaust pipe at the back where there's no silencer on. It doesn't make them loud, by the way. These Mondeos run exactly the same sound even with no exhaust. It's got the cat on up at the front on the manifold, but it just gives them a lot more better flow. And this has been remapped. It's had the software update. Joe put these wheels on it as well. Look a bit sorry for myself now. So yeah, a good one this. So yeah, I did me a bit tinkering with this, and so did Joe. I think it had the full new belt pulley kit put on it, all sorts. It's the 130 Euro 4, I think this one it definitely will be. One of the very last ones of these were 07. So it's the Euro 4 130 brake. And like I say, it's been remapped. It drives really well. Just noticed a little bit of damage to the intercooler in there. I have to just check that that's okay. So yeah, that's this. This is in for oil and filter, which I'm doing now. I'm letting that drain. The new filter's already been put into place. Air filter, which I'll show you, and the fuel filter, which I just showed you last week on my Mondeo, where you take that, and I don't need to really show you, where you take that strut top area off, and you can get down to the fuel filter that way. And again, with same, we're priming them. Very important to prime them properly, because these things will not start. This little thing, Toyota Aygo, Citroen C1, Peugeot 107. You might think, oh, you've had loads of these in, Dan. Yeah, I have. Hundreds of them. Countless ones. But this is special for one reason. Does anybody want to have a guess why? I'll even take you out the front. Anything special about or different about this particular car? Because it is for me. You guys, if you work in garages, you might say, oh, I've had loads of them in. But for us, over all these years, it's a first. From what I can remember, at least, definitely I can't remember. Anything in particular? I'll start with doing one thing. First of all, you know these are all just Toyota for a start, even though they've got Citroen on. But if I do this, it's a clue. Yeah, that's not your 3-cylinder Toyota engine, is it? Doesn't even sound like one of these. That's your DV4, your 1400 TDCi, Ford call it, 1400 HDI, Citroen and Peugeot call it. And do you know what it is? It's not a bad engine, actually. I will say. The last time I had a car with this engine in, what we worked on was that little Citroen C3. When I did a bit recording when I went down to that Ford, as in a water Ford that you drive through. That's got that engine in, and it pulls very, very well in her little Citroen C3. So I would imagine in this tiny little C1, it will pull really well. And the miles per gallon, I could quite imagine, will be absolutely off the map. I mean, I think on a run with this, if the gearbox has been geared to suit a diesel, which I hope they have, if this thing's at somewhat like, at motorway speeds, I think it could quite. If I got 62 miles per gallon with a 2.7 V6 Audi diesel 2-ton car, one of these things, I wouldn't even like to guess. Crikey, I think you could be getting 80 to the gallon. More maybe on a run if you're driving it, sensibly, correct tyre pressures and stuff. Yeah, no reason why I couldn't get that amount. But yeah, at first, the timing belt area, that's the only downside, looks a bit rammed in. But I believe these are some daft, like 100,000 mile or 10 year. Oil filter, I really did expect worse. Really, to be honest, it's just this pipe off here, and you can get to it. It's actually probably better than some of the much bigger cars. The air filter, probably okay, that. Just a few torques off. That's what this is in for, by the way. Oil and filter, air filter, and the fuel filter's there, but they're quite expensive. We'll not be bothering with that. A little bit more fiddly with this, but not really as badly rammed in as I honestly thought that it would be. Turbo there, obviously there, as I've told you, it's not 0.5, it's 1.5, so just an old-fashioned cat. Check the tax on this, and guarantee it'll be 20, 30 or free. I'll be very surprised if it's actually the 21 or free, being the diesel. But yeah, bar that, spec-wise, it's just the usual, like the one I had in the other day. Air conditioning even works as well on it. 100 and something thousand mile. Really, they don't. I'm surprised they don't badge them up. There's nothing to tell you. The only way I would know, being sad that I am, is straight up. It's got a much bigger exhaust on it, and it's like a nice stainless kind of thing, which they normally don't have. But it's the theme of the thing the last few weeks, guys. What's wrong with this car? The number plate. What's wrong with the number plate? S, Scotland. And we know that these things rot, so when we get it up, we'll have a look underneath. And I mean, it's done the 100,000 mile, and it's got the dreaded S on the number plate. So let's hope, before we start doing any work on it, servicing-wise, we'll check to see if it's structurally sound, because there was an advisory on the MOT about the subframe. Who knows if it's been repaired or bodged? We shall find out, so I'll come back to you when we get this up on the lift. Over here, well, obviously over here, you'd be wondering what on earth's going on with my Astra. Last night, I might as well give you the story. 5 o'clock last night, I was over at Ashton putting me ML on charge, and the damn charger didn't work, so total waste of time. I was over there for 9 o'clock in the morning, putting it on charge, and it must have, I don't know, the charger must have had a hissy fit, and it didn't bloody charge it, so I think I'm going to have to go over and get the battery off it and bring it here, charge it, and go from there. But anyways, 5 o'clock, 5:30, I was over at Ashton. I had a few words with Chris about the Mondeo. Had a few words about obviously doing the swap for the A6 and the new car coming. And the guy, Simon, who was offering us a lift on Friday, mentioned he needs to be back for his daughters at about 4 o'clock. It's going to be too much of a push, even if my dad let us away early and work went well on Friday, to get through to Middlesbrough and back in that time is just a no-go. And he just, I don't know if he misunderstood us, but he says, I'm finishing work shortly, I'll pick you up. And I'm thinking, oh, hold on. I didn't know it was that. The Mondeo was here in the garage, left all weekend because I didn't need it. All my stuff in it. And this was at 5 o'clock, 5:30, sitting in Asherton, away from where I live. And he went, oh, I'll be finished work at just after 6. I'm thinking, I've got to try and get home. And he said, I'm coming home now. I said, me, does it mine? He picked us up at mine, dropped us here at the garage. I ditched everything out the back of the car, onto the roof of the Astra, and jumped in a way. We didn't get back till after, it must have been 9:30, 10 o'clock, and the A19 was closed. So we were all the way through Teesside or somewhere like that. Sorry guys, just one of my customers come in there, just had to fit a battery to the Renault key fob. They're like a card. You've got to fit the Duracell battery to them contactless keys. So yeah, anyways, so I was just sat at 6 o'clock at night, come here, I was going to the office. So yeah, about 6 o'clock at night, I managed to get home. He picked us up, he lives down here. Went to let his dog out. I just chucked everything out the Mondeo on top of my Astra, as you can see. Jumped in, and we both drove down to Middlesbrough. Dropped the car at Chris's and come back. So yeah, like I said, Mondeo is gone. So yeah, I just want to show you, obviously, the jars that's in for MOT. This lass has left the keys for some keys she needed in the car. She's busy, and it's the first time I've ever had somebody book the taxi to pick up the keys from the garage. I wonder how much that's cost. That must have cost an earlier tenner for somebody just to flip and come and pick some keys up. I think I would have gotten the spare keys I just done without, or just got the bus back or walked. Yeah, sent a taxi to pick some keys up. Not something I would have ever thought to do. So yeah, I'll just show you the jars while I'm waiting for my dad to finish nattering out there. I'm just going to show you bits with this. These rattle on terribly when they're running. Yeah, there's nothing much you can do with them, to be quite honest, because you've got to strip them all down. I just want to mention as well, this is a non-intercooled turbo diesel, a bit like my Astra actually out there. It's got the turbo, as you can see, but it's just a circulated loop, and then back into the intake and round. They don't have an intercooler, mainly because there isn't space, and even in the Fiestas there's not a great deal of space on them. I think they did do a higher power version of this engine, the DV4, the 1400 HDI with an intercooler, but this also has got air conditioning somehow rammed into here. Network of pipes running everywhere, and it does actually work as well. So yeah, they've even managed to flip and fit air conduit as well as a big turbo diesel engine in there. So well done to the designers. I do imagine all the stuff down the back of the engine though, because obviously you've got your fuel injection rail, your high pressure fuel pump, all that stuff down there, your glow plugs. I bet you they're an absolute pain in the arse to do. But yeah, if it's cheap and it runs, but we'll see what it's like underneath. Because I can quite imagine it's going to have some kind of corrosion, which I'll film. Once they're finished talking out there, I'll show you the jars. Not much to show on it. I just want to show you what's in. Yeah, I've got this little jars in. I'll just show you. It's not a great deal to speak of. Just in for MOT. Denso hybrid wipers, because the ones that were on were falling to bits. You have got a kind of Japanesey kind of car. These are what you want. Denso hybrids. Back discs are getting a little bit grubby, but perfectly fine for the MOT. Yeah, this was the last who was just sent somebody a taxi over for a set of keys. Expensive set of keys. I'll just show you those. Obviously Denso are original equipment to most Japanese cars, sensors, everything. There you go, great, definitely. Apart from Bosch wipers, I highly recommend these for Japanese cars, fitted from the factory. Also with that, is if you've got one, don't park it anywhere rough and leave it, because the cats on them are worth an absolute fortune. It will get nicked and it will almost right off your car. So I know it sounds really ridiculous, but if you do own a Honda Jazz, just be careful where you park it. Unfortunately, that's sad times. You shouldn't have to do that, but that's the truth. On with this, the little C1 subframe. It's getting a little bit corroded in places, but it's not what I would class as horrendous. So we're going to ring the guy up who owns it and ask him if he wants it covered, just so when we come to have to MOT it next year. But again, with the reg, like I've said, SK Scotland, it really does show its signs. And the only other place it's definitely going to need welding for next year is this sill at the back. And no, we did not MOT this one. It's got a full MOT on. along there. Just for the information, guys, you may remember meter cord, the person who messed us around with that, that's the car that he got. So just think how good that Accord was that I had. It was an R-Reg car, 1997, 98. It was absolutely immaculate underneath, no rust whatsoever. But this was the better car that he got. So yeah, I mean, it's okay for what he needs, but yeah. Oh, it's got £20 road tax or whatever, but unfortunately it's going to need a new sills on next year. As you can see, I'm only going to poke at those. They would probably go through in these areas where they go up here aren't looking the best either. So yeah, he'll get a year out of it. Obviously at his age, that's probably all he wants. That's back shocker as well, is looking rather grotty. So yeah, it's okay. It's got a full MOT on. But come MOT next year, obviously after this winter with the salt, we'll have to assess what these inner sills are like, where they go. But definitely that outer sill, 100% will be needing done for next MOT. So yeah, to be honest, I will admit, for what he paid for it, to be honest, what he paid for it, I probably, if it got offered to me being the diesel one, probably would have took it myself, to be honest. So yeah, just thought I'd show you that one. It's not all doom and gloom. Mondeo, got to get on, do the fuel filter, air filter, put the oil in. I've just put the tray back underneath. Not many of these come with these. These were bought, me and Joe bought these especially just to stop mainly with these things, the noise and all the crap getting up into the pulleys and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much okay. This, I've just been along with the grease on the brake, mainly the fuel lines on these, the rust, it's becoming a problem with the Mark III Mondeos, especially the petrol ones, are the fuel lines. But that's it, really. I think the Jag, I mentioned here the Jag, unfortunately, did I didn't, I can't remember. The Jag, of course, unfortunately misbehaved after getting that new ignition switch on, was perfect for me, and it misbehaved. So, few developments I'll discuss when it's in. It's pointless going through it now. There's a few options now, and they're coming into £700-800 for the next step. But we're hoping an auto electrician may have a solution. I don't know yet. It needs to be discussed, and we need to actually get the car here. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll leave it here for today, because I've got all of my video to upload for the collection caper, but of course I keep getting beat by the dark nights. I might try and get the car in and get a bit of a record, like a reveal done. Otherwise I'm going to be stuck with too much content on my phone and it won't render it. So we'll leave it there, and I'll catch you tomorrow on Wednesday's vlog. Right guys, like I mentioned, this is still Tuesday, and as I've said, I'm still going to be putting my project in the weekly vlogs. I'll do separate videos on reveals, but if you want to see how the projects come along, they'll be in my weekly vlogs, because this is as and when I get time. I've got an hour free, I'm doing some work. This feels really weird. For a start, I've not actually even done the video to reveal this yet. I need to do it after this. But anyway, I'm getting on with the C230 supercharger. This is because I haven't even gone through what I'm saying to do the reveal yet. So what I'm currently doing is, I've got the pollen filter off, the oil filter is out, and the oil is draining, because with these you don't get a dipstick. That's what the whole point of that tube is, and the one next to it is for the transmission, the automatic. So I've drained that out. There's all the old oil out the engine, has to be nice and warm. And the filter, I just want to show you what's come out. This was an original Mercedes-Benz one. Is there a date on it? I don't think so, but it's very, very, very heavy. I noticed the airflow in the car was crap, and this is so heavy. It's one of these carbon ones, but to be honest, these carbon filters are a load of rubbish. You're better off with the standard ones. They're a third of the price. They're easy to change. You change them out every year, and as you can see, night and day. There we go. So there's the pollen filter done. Oil filter, some cheap, unbranded thing, which I'm not keen on at all. I must admit, this is one of the tiniest little oil filters I've ever come across. But nothing wrong with it, a little bit dirty. Obviously this car, like I've mentioned, is going into storage after. I'm going to use it, I'm going to MOT it next week, so it's got a full MOT. It's going to have 13-month MOT. I've been through this before with you guys. The car's due, I think, MOT on the 11th or something of December. So anytime after the 11th of November, you can do the MOT early, and it adds you on a month, so you effectively get 13 months. Purely just so that if I pick and choose when I want to use the car, I can bang tax on it, which I've bollocksed up with the ZX. I've let the MOT expire, which means if I want to just quickly get it out in March or something, depending on the weather, I can't, because I can't tax it. So really, top tip, guys, if you ever put your cars into storage for the winter, make sure if they're due the MOT through the winter, do it before you put it into storage. I know it's wasting time away when they're not getting used, but it just, once the MOT's out, you lose your ability to tax them and use them, because you've got to faff doing the MOT first and all the rest of it. So anyways, that's the crack with that next week MOT. So again, back to my point, genuine MAN filter, because the one that was in was unbranded, made in Germany, proper quality filter that needs to be in there. New seals there, and there, as I've just knocked the damn thing over. So I'm going to get on now. It's just almost done. Get the new oil in, filter in, pollen filter. And I'm going to do the air filter, the plugs and the fuel filter, but they're coming off eBay because they're about 60 quid for a fuel filter for it. It's got a pressure regulator in. Very important, because that can really down the power on these. If the little fuel pressure regulator is going dicky in the fuel filter, it can actually affect fuel pressure, therefore you don't get the full power. So I've getting one off eBay for £25, Bosch one. Spark plugs, iridiums are £20 each, 2 for £80 from our suppliers. I can get 4 on eBay, exactly the same NGKs for £40. So I'll be putting the order in for them. And air filter, again, was about £20. I've getting a one for £10 from the same company I'm getting the fuel filter from, Bosch one. That's in here. Clearly, I'm not going to waste my time stripping nothing down till it's here. Same for the spark plugs, same for the fuel filter. Hence, I'm just doing the pollen filter and the oil change. And as you can see, ES on there, all in Spanish. Guaranteed. Obviously, all the history of this car. I'm not getting too much into, because that's going to be for the reveal video. But the other thing I've got coming, like I've mentioned, is the little resistor, £35, because you've got to continuously have the passenger seatbelt plugged in. Otherwise, it thinks somebody's on the seat and it beeps on all the time when you're driving, which is annoying. So I've already done one on the car that I had like this previously. A little resistor you put under the seat and it bypasses the pressure sensor on the seat. Airbag and everything still works the same as what it needs to be, just stops the beeping. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'm going to crack on. I'll catch you on Wednesday's vlog. Right, guys, welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. Bit of a catastrophe yesterday. Really pissed off. Had the scanner, believe it or not, connected to my own car. Left it scanning on the boot, on the back of the car, basically, like the slam panel for the boot. Went into the office to take a phone call. Next minute, I come out, just as I do, to check where the code reading was, and the effing boot had come down onto the scanner, onto our diagnostic equipment, and totally smashed the screen. So it's really cocked things up. I need that machine every day. We've took it to some mobile phone repair shop to see if they can get a screen. If they can't, you're going to have to buy a new one. I try a few other places, but it's the point of, in the meantime, when we don't have nothing to use, we've got an old Snap-on scanner, but it only dates to about 2012. So we're a little bit stuck. So yeah, not in the best of fettles. Probably going to keep the filming to a minimum today, because I'm still pissed off, to be quite honest. So yeah, anyways, last minute job come in last night. My uncle's car. My cousin's actually due to go into labour. I might actually already be an uncle right now, if we found out she's had the bend through the night. But the coil pack on the Astra had started to misfire. As you can see, it had been running quite badly. They were really badly shuttered up. So new coil pack, new plugs, massively common fault with the Vauxhalls. With mine, I've whipped a few of the plugs out to check them, and they're not the best. They're okay, but I've got some coming, 40 quid, may as well just change them. But this second coil pack here, I'll move them gloves, was absolutely full with oil. That one didn't have a single drop, nor did they. So I think somebody spilt some oil and it's just gone into there, I hope. This pipe, I noticed, was disconnected. Not disconnected, had just pulled loose. And that goes to all this for your kind of... To be quite honest, guys, I don't even know, because all it does is goes to this solenoid, it goes down here to take some kind of crankcase ventilation solenoid basically. So hopefully with that connected back up, it wasn't running bad anyway, but it'll certainly improve things. So what am I waiting for? The air filter to come, spark plugs to come. They're both coming on eBay. Fuel filter's not urgent because it's probably underneath all the covers underneath. That's something that could possibly just wait until springtime, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's where we're up to with it. Went around, polished a few little bits, done the number plate lights. There's just a few little bits where I think it's like women's makeup or something. It really affects the paint on cars of this era. Done the number plate lights, so they're working fine. That's what I was in the process of doing and why the boot was open when the fucking scanner got knacked. Obviously, my dad's alright, and that's a total... Well, it wasn't even an accident because I just left it there like I would always leave it. You don't expect the boot lid to just randomly... I know I said the struts were bad, but it was because it had been not quite lifted to the full. It must have just had a gust of wind or something coming to the garage and dropped it. Anyways, enough to speak about the doom and gloom. There's this Yaris. I need to do the headlights on. It's in for MOT. Got to show you the ducks back on that shortly. But for now, there's a Vectra out on the road, the main road, not starting. And it was the one in last week, what we had, the red one, or the week before. The diesel one, it's struggling to start. And there's a few things with these. Could be battery voltages, temperature sensors. They're a real strange starter, these, the 120 diesels. Always have been. Even my Signum with 30,000 miles, it was almost brand new years back. That was a funny starter. So I'm going to go around now. I'm not really going to record. Well, I might do a little bit recording, but it's on a main road and there's usually people standing around next to the shop. But we'll try. But I'll get back to you guys. I'm going to go out and see if I can get it started. Right, I've been round to have a look at that Vectra. Two things. The battery was pretty flat. It turned over a few times. I put the booster pack on. I will just say with GB, turn it around the right way. These are absolutely fantastic. GB70. This thing will start a flipping articulated lorry. No problem. Multiple times over. Great. Went to start it. It turned over a few times very sluggishly. Put the booster pack on. It tried once again. And it sounded very tired, and then we left it for like a minute or so while I checked that the pack had not disconnected, nothing on the key, just click, click, click. I think the starter motor's starting to go on it, and when the starter motors do start to go, they tighten up, the slow down, and those engines are absolutely critical that they reach a particular RPM. If it's just a few below, they will not fire. So I think what the issue with that is could possibly be the starter motor. It's in a busy roadside, it's a bit awkward to work on. So I'm waiting till my dad comes back, so I had to close the garage, and we'll go back and have a look at it later on when we get 5 minutes. What I'm doing now is the ducks back on the Yaris. Just want to show you a bit of before and after. So get a good look at them lights. You see from an angle there, the camera doesn't show them up as being quite as bad as what they are, but they are bad. You can see that one's got a lot of hazing. It's like very orangey looking. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see it's really quite bad. Well, I'm on this lamp on the Mercedes is fine, but this one's getting a little bit of tarnish into it. Don't know if you can see that on it, but I'm going to give, while I've got the stuff out, I'm going to give a little go of this one, just purely because I've got it all there in my hands using it. I would show you what I'm doing, guys. It's just pretty simple, basically. Put a little dotted number 1 on a bit of cloth, rub it on, leave it to dry, don't rub it off, get some number 2, put it on a different bit of cloth, rub it on, leave it to dry, then get a microfiber cloth and buff it off. I'll show you in various stages of how we'll get on with it. So I'm actually going to leave the phone on now and try and do this all as one shot. So I'm going to apply the number 1 now. So that's stage 1 applied. It does make them look really good, but then when it dries, they dull off back to what they were, as you can see. But what it does bring off is all of this off the headlamp. All that crap it brings off. And that's not yellow off my gloves, by the way. It's just that kind of coloured stuff. It manages to somehow take off the surface. So I'm going to crack on and do that one and do the 2 on mine. There we go. That's the other side done. I'm going to let that dry, and I've done that one, but not that one, because I want to get some photographs to do some before and afters for my Facebook channel for Cardiff Garage North East. So I'm going to let them dry, and I'll come back to you when we apply stage 2. But it's all you do, you just put it on, clear liquid, that comes off, leave them to dry, same thing, put the new liquid 2 on, job done. But I'll come back to you when I've done them. Right guys, that's them done. To be honest, this product is that good. It doesn't even take a great... The longest time it takes is just waiting for it to dry. It doesn't take any time at all. Plus, the packages that you buy, I think you get about 10 headlamps easily, using it sensibly, because if you put too much on, you make a mess. So, let's see how they've gone. This is what you end up with. This is, by the way, 2 vehicles I've done. And to be honest, you're barely using more than 2 drops, as in droplets per headlamp. So obviously that's off the Yaris. Looks like nicotine, doesn't it? And then that's off the Mercedes, and that was the one I used to put the product on. Again, I've only used 1 wipe between them as well. You don't need to go just, you know, I noticed some people when they open packages, they go in ripping everything to bits, using a full wipe and everything. You really don't get much better job if you go using... Sometimes if you use too much of something, it doesn't work. But what do you think of this? I mean, up close, I'm not going to lie, on the Yaris, you still can see imperfections. You are never going to make it perfect. But for an MOT, that's gone from definitely this one would have been a fail to an advise, to barely even having to advise them to see how they're set. With this one being a little bit worse than expected, I might put another little extra coat, which you shouldn't do, by the way, you shouldn't. But I've used this enough times now to understand how to use it. You've got to do sideways, just 1 dab at a time like that. It's, you know, you've got to read the instructions and learn how to do it. And the Mercedes wasn't really too bad anyway, but I have done a before and after photograph, particularly on this headlamp, and it has actually come up rather well. So yeah, we'll leave it there. There's a car, like I said, that Vector at the sort. There's the Duke outside. I don't know what's wrong with that. Maybe something interesting when we get it up on the lift. So I'll catch you soon. Just a quick, I want to show you this thing. We thought something had snapped or whatever on the subframe, but here, quality item, Nissan Duke, as you know, one of my least favourite vehicles. But if you want to work the play on that, you'll see the wheel. We'll just look at the wheel for a start. And that's, by the way, look at that wheel over there, it's not moving. And we'll have a look and you'll see what's going on. When that disconnects, your wheel is off. So yeah, that's a good one for the books. Luckily, it's a nice simple job though, so that's not too bad. So yeah, get a new track rod end ordered. I'm going to get on the phone now and try and do some hunting and find a decent quality one, which is quite difficult for Nissans these days. And also on trying to look for a new scanner. I think I found one, but I need to do a little bit more research before hitting that. So easy to hit button these days to buy now. So I'll catch you soon when we've got that one sorted.